Alright, as you have already seen by the title, yes, we're going to be talking about the new first look trailer that Nintendo just released today on their Nintendo Direct, and it is a sequel to the original Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild released in 2017. Now, we have a conspiracy theory revolving around the goddesses, but first we're going to take a quick look at the trailer, and then we're going to analyze it frame for frame and talk about this theory and back it up. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so with that being the trailer, now we're going to look at it step by step, and let's just talk about the basics first. Clearly, it's quite clear later on into the trailer that Ganon is back to life. Why and how? Because it contradicts what happened in the previous game, where Ganon goes into his final form at the cost of no resurrections. So obviously, there is some third party, some extraterrestrial force that's giving him this second chance. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly what this is, and we see this hand clearly clenching onto him. We don't know whether it's giving him life, whether it's taking away life, what this hand is, where it's coming from. So we're gonna look at that. Now, as you can see over here, 11 seconds into the trailer, this hand is clearly clenching onto Ganon, and Ganon's little fumes is already coming back to him. So it's clear that this hand either has helped bring him back or is helping to like kill him before he comes back. We don't know what this hand is, where it's coming from, or what this is about, because it's clear that the hand, you can take a look at where the hand it's sort of aurora is coming from a different place from Ganon's dark aurora. So you see the dark aurora, it goes from the nexus of the roof. It has its own separate entity. It's its own separate being. Whereas this other blue hand aurora, we don't know what this is, but it's clear that they're two separate things. So whether it's assisting it or whether it's not, we don't know. So we're going to talk about what the goddesses might actually be doing in this game, the new sequel to the Breath of the Wild. So let's talk about the goddesses for a second. Okay, there is Din. Din is the goddess of, I believe, power or fire. He is bonded with Ganon. He owns that Triforce piece in a way. He's essentially bonded with that goddess. And Link and Zelda are also bonded to their own goddesses. Link has the Triforce of Courage, right? And the Triforce of Courage, the goddess it relates to, I believe, is what's the name again? Homer?
Dineru and Farore.
Farore. I'm pretty sure Farore is the one. I might be mistaken on that, but regardless, Link's goddess, or the owner of that, the goddess of the Triforce that Link is bonded to, sort of has a green aurora. So we're gonna talk about this a little bit more. So let's break this down frame by frame, okay? So we see this aurora come in, okay, at the beginning of the trailer. Okay, we don't know what this aurora is. It's clearly related to the hand. We're not sure what this is. I'm gonna tell you right now, personally, I think this is what's her name again, Omer?
Farore.
Farore,
Or
yeah.
Neru,
Neru, I forget the name, but this is the goddess, or at least his or her presence, not necessarily the actual physical entity. Okay, this is their presence at the beginning of the trailer entering. Because the thing is, the developers have a lot to work with this trailer, and they're gonna try to like blow this game out of the water and give us something we've never seen before. And what is something we haven't seen before? The actual goddesses in a game taking role, except for Wind Waker. Now that was in Wind Waker near the end, where the goddesses, where Ganon was getting all three Triforces to make a wish, and those goddesses have to listen to that wish regardless if they like it or not. Now, stating that already, you know that the goddesses are flawed. They are not perfect. And we don't know much about the goddesses, where they come from. They were apparently here from the beginning of time. We don't know much about them. There's not a lot of substance to work with. But from the little substance we do know from Wind Waker, we know that they're flawed. Now, this right here is Link's goddess sort of presence entering. Okay, so we're gonna continue on with the trailer. And immediately you can see sort of like the two separate entities existing with one another. Okay, and obviously there's some paintings or some war battle going on in the wall that's been sort of like painted onto. Okay. Now, as you can see over here, Ganon is sort of spewing this. If you look at the direction of the aurora coming from Ganon, it seems to be spewing out, not going inside him. So it's clear that it's already leaving his body, right? It's spreading out sort of like a plague. And this hand is just on his chest. My belief is it's trying to stop Ganon from resurrecting. Now, first off, why is Ganon resurrecting? I'm pretty sure that's the biggest question coming to most people's minds. First off, we have some extraterrestrial entities that we don't know are what, like, we don't know where they're coming from and how Ganon comes back to life. It contradicts everything we knew from the previous game. Ganon is coming back to life. We don't know why or how that's even possible. The one thing that is possible, his resurrection did not have the goddesses in the equation. If you have the goddesses in the equation, it might change things up. Now let's take a further look into this. Okay, you can clearly see Ganon's aurora is spreading. Okay, it is sort of swallowing the area that Link and Zelda are currently in. Things are about to get real interesting now. So clearly it's spewing out, and this hand is sort of trying to tame Ganon. Okay. Now over here, right here, we see this aurora that existed latching on to Link's hand. So you see that Link is trying to sort of like contain this energy, this source, this power, this entity. We don't know what that is, but why does it go to him, right? Well, you can say, oh, he's the main character. It just goes to the main character just because, you know, suspense for the plot. That is plausible, but also this could be the goddess bonding with Link, right? We could see some sort of, because it's already bonded to these characters. It's imprinted inside them. He owns the Triforce of Courage, right? So that could be an explanation. And Link is sort of bonding with it or wielding with it, obviously with lots of struggle. Now, why is the goddess here? What's the purpose? That's probably another question. Why are they interfering right now? Where are they even coming from? Why were they not just, you know, staying in the heavens as they usually do? What's up with this interference? We're gonna go on with that. Let's just take a further look. Okay, now over here, right now, you see clearly Ganon's aurora just exploded and bursted right where the hand used to be. This is the sort of like the nexus of the roof. That's where the hand originally was, or extending out of. And now you don't see the hand anywhere. It's nowhere to be seen, and it's just Ganon's aurora exploding all over the area. And you probably wonder what happened to that hand, right? Let's take a further look. Okay, that's obviously a Link helping Zelda. That probably is beforehand. Everything goes to hell. Okay. Now over here, you see that this is Link's hand, probably, most likely, you can tell, grabbing this entity. And I'm pretty sure this is where the bonding happens, where this entity grabs Link. Now, why? If you were to say, let's say you go with the assumption that this hand is helping Ganon, it's giving him life. Well, you'd be wrong to say that, because if it's helping Ganon, giving him life, why would it then save Link that stops Ganon? It contradicts with one another. So this right here being the goddess, and you look at this armor that's on this entity, it sort of like gives a holy symbolic look.
It kind of looks like the thing from Twilight Princess.
Yeah, or Skyward, no, something from.
No, it looks like from Twilight Princess.
Okay, but
that's exactly what it looks like.
So yeah, no, like it's clear that this is some extraterrestrial being, and we don't know what this is. But the theory that I'm going along with is that this is Farore, one of the goddesses, goddess of courage. Okay. Now over here, right here, you see that the goddess of courage is trying to banish Ganon. They're clearly fighting. You don't see, like, if you take a look over here, there's nothing really going on. It's just like, we can't really see any fighting. Like you can't really see much. You see Ganon just lying there, and that's his skull, right? And that's the aurora around it. And you see them fighting in this light, in the shadows. That is the entities fighting. Now you're probably thinking, okay, this entity is fighting Ganon, but is Ganon not dead? What's even left there to fight? There's nothing left to fight. Ganon's a dead man. He's a corpse in the ground beneath Hyrule Castle. False. Here's where the conspiracy is probably going to blow your mind. Okay. The goddess that is bonded with Ganon is named Din. And my conspiracy is Din has now bonded with Ganon to become one entity to give him another life and join forces in a way to overtake Hyrule. And no, it's like, okay, what the heck? First off, why? First off, what? That makes no sense. There's no motive. This, that. First off, for starters, going back to the idea that the goddesses are flawed, right? So this would make sense if the goddess of courage is fighting Din. They're in a battle between the two entities, and you see that Ganon is basically gaining life. Like you see earlier in the trailer, right? Hold up, right here, that they're two separate entities. They're not the same, and it seems complete opposites to each other. Now, where is the goddess for Zelda? We don't know. That's probably might be something that interferes later on into the game. This is just the opening scene. But here's my theory. Din wanted to give Ganon a resurrection, second chance at life. And before he is able to do so, Goddess of Courage, Farore, interferes. And you see that hand. It's trying to stop it, punish it, put it in the ground, put it in its place. And you see this aurora of Ganon already spreading. You see, like this doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not like Ganon is like, oh, girl, I'm so angry, and now I'm just gonna, like, come back to life. That's not how this works. Ganon is put down permanently. It's clear that there is something else interfering that's causing him to come back. It is quite obvious and quite vivid to see, and you see that it's clearly going against Ganon. That is not a playful grab. That is trying to kill Ganon, clearly. And that is basically Farore in argument or in, sort of like in anger against Din, right? Trying to put Ganon to an end before he can come back. Because we've never really seen what would happen if a mortal would bond with the goddess as one entity. And when that happens, when Ganon comes back to life, you see that Ganon comes back to life, right? That's why the Goddess of Courage, Farore, bonds with Link. Where you see over... where is it? Where'd it go? So yeah, over here, you see now the goddess of Farore is bonding with Link, a mortal. Because clearly, now that, well, obviously not clearly, but this is the conspiracy, that Din has bonded with Ganon as one entity to bring him back, right? To be as one, to rule over Hyrule. Not even just Hyrule. Like, this is something else. Like, all of Hyrule Castle lifted. I doubt that the prequel is still, or the sequel is going to stay place in the same world. I'm pretty sure it's going to take us to a different world. This is a much, much bigger picture than we are ever used to before. This is something that's going to blow us out of the water. And this is why sort of like Farore is bonding with Link as one entity in order to compete and put themselves at the same level that Ganon has now with Din. Come on. You see the retaliation. Din won over or bonded with Ganon, and there's this explosion of its aurora. And you see the bonding. You see that it's trying to help Link. And you see that there's this argument, this fight against the two goddesses. Okay? And over here, this is the goddess. You see, it is dead. This is not Ganon. Lots of people are actually mistaking it to be Ganon. This is not Ganon. Ganon is you look, pay attention to the nails and the rings. We're gonna take a look at what grabs Link's hand. Oh, right there. So you see the rings on that or on the I don't know my fingers, index finger or whatever. Anyways, you see the nails. Look at the nails. Look at the ring. This is Farore, the goddess of courage. And now it's drained out of life. Not because it's dead, but it has left this entity and bonded with Link. It's inside Link now. That's why this is empty. It's dry. There's no life inside of it. That's why you look at this and it's dead. There's nothing left in it. Okay? And you see Ganon come back to life. Now, obviously, that is like this blew the world to see that Ganon comes back to life, and completely contradicts what happened before. But you see that and obviously you could say that it's just a coincidence, but the color of his eyes represents the color of Din, the goddess of power, I believe, or fire, and it's bonded with Ganon. So Ganon has now awakened, and they have become one at this moment. And then Hyrule lifts. And look, this is something to pay attention to. The aurora fades away completely. And that right there is the perfect way, like that just sort of like confirms my theory in a way, to say that this entity has bonded with Link. It has left. It is not two separate things. It's not Link and this aurora. It is one. So you see at the beginning of this fight, it enters, right? And then it leaves at the end. So it sort of shows before and after. Link has now officially sort of like bonded with Farore. Please excuse me if I'm wrong and I'm saying these names wrong or the colors wrong for what they represent or which Triforce piece they represent. But you get the idea what I'm going at. This is a battle between way bigger than just Link and Ganon. This is a battle between the goddesses. Now, I'm pretty sure there's one big question bulging in your mind. Why would Din do this? Right? Why would Din just bond with Ganon and give him a second chance and go against the other two goddesses? Heck, it's already a 1v2, right? That is the point of a conspiracy. There will be holes that don't make sense, and this by far being the biggest hole. But we already know previously from previous games that the goddesses are flawed. They are not perfect. They had to listen to they were going to listen soon to Ganon to flood Hyrule and destroy it completely against their will. They don't have a choice. They are flawed. They are not perfect, and it's clear that they are not the best of beings. So now you see this retaliation with Din against the other two goddesses, bonding with Ganon, and then you see that once that bond has been complete, Link and the entity bond over here, right? So I definitely think it's going to be interesting. That could be completely false. That could be completely wrong, but you never know. And that's the conspiracy right there. Wild conspiracy. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below if you think this is the stupidest thing you've ever heard. If you think there might be a possibility that this may be true, or maybe you think I'm an Einstein futurist fucking, like, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I hope to catch you guys next time, and we will keep updated anytime they give out new leaks or new trailers. I'm going to follow up with this conspiracy theory and see if it checks out. And yeah, no, we're not even sure when this game is even going to come out. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like. And I want to hear your theories too. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time.